This podcast is a proud member of PodNation Media Network.
Movie is like the fully formed Dr. John Osterman, the Dr. Manhattan of Watchmen, where the other movies, they are the DNA and the bones and the nervous system and the muscles, and then this movie is finally the fully formed naked blue penis of Dr. Manhattan. That you've got to see all those other parts. So
welcome to Franchise Addicts, a podcast that covers every film in a given franchise. My name is Luke.
And I'm Chris.
And this week, there are others. And this week, we witness the modern masterpiece that took only 17 short years to make, Mad Max Fury Road.
Was it only 17 years that it took to make?
1998 is when production on the movie began.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, he had like the idea starting in like 90 or something, but I guess that's what happened.
Before we get into it, let's talk about the other people on the show, Chris.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So we've got the movie nerd himself, Dominic, from Talkin TV. We have him on a real episode with the full cast and characters of Franchise Addicts. Welcome to the show, Dom.
Oh man, happy to be here, Luke. You have been so gracious in order to give up your time every Sunday for the last 7 weeks to record our Paul Thomas Anderson rewatch series, and I'm very happy to meet Chris and Peter, the other two members of the Franchise Addicts podcast. And oh man,
this is what you miss out on, Chris. This is
maybe just give me a fucking tell me this thing, man. My dream is to do the PTA movie by movie.
We've been living your dream, buddy.
It's been spectacular. It has been so good, and also it is making me now understand that I'm like, oh, this is why we get along so well, because you literally have a me co-hosting with you and Chris. It all makes sense. It all makes sense now.
It's true. I surround myself with all of these similar people.
It just makes sense. We're gifted with the most David Arquette motherfucker I've ever seen. Like, oh my god,
I do look like David Arquette right now.
No, I'm talking about Peter. Like,
dude, I'm talking about Peter for sure.
Dude, you literally look like you were ripped right out of the
god,
screen.
David Arquette's kind of
come on. Right?
Once again, have been invited to the podcast. I can't breathe in this thing. Oh, mates, I just wanted to say that this movie is a gas, and I don't mean the flatulent kind. Let's get on with it. Let's do this, mates. Let's do it.
Christian Bale.
That's a little...
I thought it was Tom Hardy for a second.
Fucking amateur.
So I want to kick us off talking about Tom Hardy because he is the big change in our.
Also,
Mad
Peter's
Max.
here. Peter's here. Hi, Peter.
Yeah, Peter's. Hey, what's up, Peter?
That was me. Well,
that was here. We didn't formally introduce Peter.
Immortan Cup of Joe.
Hey, it's me, Immortan Chris, and Immortan Joe.
Luke, I don't think you understand what you started here.
I know it's good. This is late night on a Friday, guys. This is the type of energy I was expecting.
So I look like David Arquette, like eight-legged.
Freaks. Yeah, you like that would be the poster.
Dewey,
like Dewey, exactly.
I'm more like Dewey.
No. We're not going that far.
That guy's a good-looking guy when he, drops the stick,
the
at the end, usual suspect.
Yeah, you could land Courtney Cox any day.
Right?
Damn.
That's a compliment.
Dude, 90s Courtney Cox.
in the Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that's the one.
Video.
That's the era.
That's where she was discovered.
Yeah. He was friends with somebody that was very troubled. David Arquette. I don't know.
It was the 90s in Hollywood. Everybody was friends with somebody who was troubled.
He wasn't famously. I don't know. We'll get to it. We actually won't get to it because I don't know. But maybe I'll look it up, but probably not. So Tom Hardy, though, is an actor that you were talking about, right?
Tom Hardy. Yeah, Tom Hardy is an actor in this film. Multiple things about Tom Hardy in this movie. So he is taking over for Mel Gibson, the typical Mad Max, the usual Mad Max, the Mad Max that we've learned. So Gibson. So this movie started production in 1998 with the intent to have Gibson come back.
What happened to Mel Gibson between that time?
I don't know. I think it was something involving a phone call.
I stopped following his career right around
right after Braveheart. I think is Braveheart and the Last of the Lethal Weapons is when I stopped following.
Passion of the Christ. I obviously saw religiously.
Talk about. I saw that opening night in theaters.
Yeah, with Mike Drew.
Saw it.
That was like, hey, you guys like Jesus? Do you like Hostel? You want Jesus in Hostel? And that was that movie. But Apocalypto was good.
Good movie.
Apocalypto is
that
good.
crazy?
Very good.
Yeah, that's
I don't
like
think
a
that's
solid,
crazy
you
to
know,
say.
like
No, that's a great movie.
Hacksaw
I
Ridge.
feel like that's less than.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Andrew
Hacksaw
Garfield.
Ridge.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
Tom Hardy coming in, Mel Gibson, up until 2001 when they were working on this film, and then something involving 9/11, they weren't able to do it in Australia anymore, and so they had to change everything up. So they end up going to Namibia. Mel Gibson's out for various reasons, and this movie then just goes into super long production mode. The first the first actor that George wanted for this role was Heath Ledger. And
Ooh, that would have been
Heath
good.
Ledger passes away in 2008. And then Tom Hardy is the only other option that Miller has in mind. So it was those two guys. He says he didn't have anyone else in mind.
Do you have any info on the possible Furiosa casting?
No, I have nothing
I'm
on
curious about
nothing
that.
on that. Nothing on that.
Mm.
But I can say this about Charlize Theron. She did not like Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
No, she did not.
Very, very famously so. Because Tom Hardy it kind of seems like a dick. Like, he didn't show up. And, like, people were waiting forever in the fucking scorching desert, right? And he just would take his time and, like, be hours and hours late, you know? Like,
Man loves playing his video games.
So
okay, Bane.
when did Inception come out? Because I feel like that was his big coming out
2010.
because he was
So
excellent.
the
in
timeline
that.
goes, you got Bronson 08.
Yeah.
2 years later, you got Inception in 2010, then Warrior in 2011, then Dark Knight Rises 2012.
Yes.
And then
Okay,
this
and
is
when did
15.
this start shooting?
I mean, they worked on this for like 7 years, man.
They
Five
were
years.
It was a long time. Couple of other things with Hardy. Yeah, I think he was doing some method work here, and that's why he was like extra weird on set and stuff like that. And yeah, Charlize big enough star that basically she was just like, I'm not putting up with this shit. This guy's a fucking, moron and a jerk, basically. But they still work super well on camera together, have a touching emotional scene near the end of the movie. But yeah, hated each other.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth it to do method acting for this role that is not, it's not super meaty in terms of its like acting range, you know what I mean?
He just needs to be bugged out. I heard that he like listened to like he had crazy music going through like an iPod or whatever at the,
It's probably Creed.
Totally Creed. Just actually that one Creed, just like, My Own Prison on repeat.
I mean, look, as far as method acting goes,
6 feet from the
yeah, it does sound like. Wait, are we getting? That sounds like that like Nickelback right there for a second.
That's great.
I don't fucking know.
The better Nickelback.
I just got a quick thing to say about method acting. General rule of thumb is that unless you're Daniel Day-Lewis or Jeremy Strong, and even the cast of Succession hated when Jeremy Strong did it. To the point where it almost like, you almost had like feuds between him and the rest of the cast over it, and they had to like play nice over it. But in general, it's just like nobody in the acting business really likes it. Even Day-Lewis has talked about the fact that, what method acting is supposed to represent and what he does with his specific process is kind of like he feels like what a lot of he feels like a lot of people who talk about it don't really understand it, and the way that it's publicized and talked about in the press. Often it's talked about by people who don't understand it, and most of the time it's people just kind of like exploiting it and using it as an excuse to justify their shitty behavior, whether they're antisocial or whether they just like don't like being around people and then like constantly have to show whatever the reason is, like we've got literally a decade full of Jared Leto stories to back it up. But
there's the documentary on Jim Carrey on the set of Man on the Moon,
right?
And he's just the worst.
Yeah, he's unbearable, And it's like you always have to ask the question is like whether it's worth it for the final product. And the problem is that 9 out of 10 times the final product, I'm not saying it justifies it, but the final product is so good that you don't even care. I mean, how many incredible seasons of Succession did we get? Every time we got it. But yeah, it's just most of the time whenever you hear stories about it behind the scenes, you're like, just all right. Like, was that really necessary?
I think it's why Jean-Claude Van Damme got kicked off The Predator, because he was cloaking in the forest and killing the key grips left and right.
Can't do that,
I think that's why he got
I mean,
kicked
that he
off.
was about like 10 inches too short, so that probably didn't help either.
Do you think that like
That would have been amazing.
Do you think Daniel Day-Lewis like when he's method acting, like does he keep that like into the evening? Like
No,
if he like
I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is with Day-Lewis that separates him from the rest of these other.
he's the best actor. He's fine. He can do it.
Doesn't infringe upon other people's ability to work around him. That's what it comes down to. You know, he's living by himself. You know, he says goodbye after day on set. Like he's like. So, for example, I remember because Leo tells this story when they were filming Gangs of New York, which is that they would still like go to the bars after the fact, and he would still be in character as Bill the Butcher, but he's not being like, you know, this asshole like, oh, I'm gonna cut your head off and smite you or something like that. But he's like, you know, he's just like in the bar and he just
he's
is
like a chill Bill the Butcher.
Yeah, and then literally that's what it is.
I'm just doing the voice.
And then when he was filming Last Mohicans, he was legit like just, you know, living in the woods and you know, and fucking when he was doing Phantom Thread, he was like working and making you know, working and making the dresses and designing it. Like that's like kind of his process, because I mean, look, and not to toot my own horn here, but again, Meisner, trained actor, has studied for 2 years at the Neighborhood Playhouse. I understand the Meisner method of acting, which is what a lot of actors say is like their go-to method inside and out. And really what I have seen, and the reason why Day-Lewis is able to make it work in a way that nobody else can, I feel this is just an extension of our Phantom Thread discussion at this point, is that he is ultimately just doing what it is that good acting is, which is listening, answering, responding, immersing himself within the character. And that is what I feel like so many people do not understand both about acting, and this is what so many people do not understand about, you know, method acting and how it's been so purported by the press and the people who claim to do it.
I'm just gonna say that.
And I think he was writing sassy, sexy letters to Sally Field on the set of Lincoln at night.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but like in the 1800s style of like whatever smut would be back then.
Girlfriends are the worst.
Yeah.
They were actually supposed to be
iPhone
Todd's
doesn't work
brother.
It's drainage, battery drainage. There we go. We did that.
I had to throw drainage in there. We haven't even gotten to There Will Be Blood yet. That's
oh my god, have me on! It's my favorite movie ever. I love it.
Oh man, I can see that.
What does that say about me? Okay, go on.
Is Hardy good in this role?
Yeah.
He's certainly not bad. I think he's good.
Yeah.
That's a catch-22 question, because the problem is they dubbed over most of his dialogue. So
he doesn't have any.
Was he shopping Bane a little bit?
I don't know, but there are certain points where like he's chained up on the mast when they're doing that first drive out, and he's got the metal grate over his face, and he's screaming profanities and shit. And like the sound design is like it's kind of warped, it's a little bit Tenet-esque, and he's like, and it's clearly not his voice. I'm like, I don't know what voice that is, but it's not Tom Hardy's.
Yeah, it's probably hard to get the actual sound on set, all ADR. But he has under 70 lines.
Yeah.
So like under 60, so he doesn't really say much at all.
Well, and I think that's kind of what makes this kind of another perfect continuation, but the ultimate Mad Max movie is that, again, and this was talked about when the movie first came out, for a movie called Mad Max, he's not the main character of the movie. He's really not even the central part of the central comedy. It's part of the whole of the Mad Max saga, is that they're really the only movie in this entire 5-movie series that is about Max is the first one, because that's the only one where we're following a typical like traditional hero's journey from beginning to end. Every other movie, he's just kind of a wanderer who wanders across this random desert settlement and gets involved in whatever fuck-ass wasteland journey craziness is happening, you know?
So Dom, this was the first Mad Max that I ever saw, and this, I don't know if I'd ever seen such a thing in a movie where the character that we are following is not the main character of the movie, and that was a pretty cool fact that I figured out as I was watching it, and I thought that was
it's a pretty interesting and tricky conundrum, especially given that
the main character. I think Charlize takes over, but
so much of
top billing. Number 1 on the call sheet, Tom Hardy. Number 2 on the call sheet, Charlize.
Well, so that's the other thing.
Yeah, but she's the one who quote unquote drives the
pun intended.
story.
Drives the story.
Pun intended.
Sure.
But
I
it's funny.
Road Warrior is the exact same Well, actually, it's not. Road Warrior is
Not
more
really.
Max's movie.
Yeah,
than
it is more so
really...
Max's movie. Yeah. And Road Warrior, you can make the argument that, okay, it's like this is his way of dealing with the trauma of losing his wife and child in the last one. But as far as the whole, like, who is the star of the movie and that whole thing, it's interesting because this is a thing that I remember when I studied in screenwriting, right? And because for the longest time, right, my biggest thing was there were two Oscar ceremonies that I had a big problem with. Throughout the 2000s, from the 2000s, I should say, throughout college. And it really, really always pissed me off. I'm like, why are Ethan Hawke from Training Day and Jamie Foxx from Collateral nominated and supporting? The Jamie Foxx one is even more offensive because he is arguably the lead of that movie. Now, granted, this is before I learned about category fraud and all of that thing, but I'm like, it was a really interesting thing when I would study screenwriting and I would study character and the whole thing of like, the traditionalist screenplay is supposed to be based around one character. You're following them through this series of journeys. Every other character is meant to support this one character, yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, I would have arguments all the time with my screenwriting professor. I'm like, oh, what about Tarantino movies? And she obviously hated Tarantino. She's like, oh, he's a bad writer because he doesn't follow the process. And I'm like, nah, you're biased. You just don't like him. I get it. But it like really started to like mess with my head. And so basically what it comes down to is, of course, like everything else when it comes to filmmaking and screenwriting and all this stuff, learn the rules, then you break them. You can kind of do whatever you want as long as the final product is entertaining and the story works out, right? Ultimately, also tying into our series, when Luke and I were watching One Battle, we were kind of figuring out, we're like, Tiana's an awesome character. Why is she going for the movie after 20 minutes? And why does this feel so much more like Sean Penn's movie than DiCaprio, even though DiCaprio is the credited lead, And what we kind of figured out with that one is that movie is kind of actively fighting against the hero's journey trope by actively going out of its way to make its lead character a joke and give him as little screen time as possible. So it always is kind of a tricky thing when you get situations like this, where it's like whoever the quote unquote main character is supposed to be versus who the movie ultimately ends up being about. And I guess kind of the way that I track it is who goes through the most change, the most growth and change throughout it. And in this instance, you could absolutely say that is Furiosa, not Max. Max is, again, just a passenger on this journey ultimately that we find ourselves in here.
You don't think Max doesn't go through
look at his eyes. Look at how he acts with his eyes.
Name me one difference between Max from the beginning and Max at the end. And don't tell me that he gets a great ripped off his face, because that doesn't count.
He becomes a Jesus Christ-like figure that his body heals someone else when he was willing to steal their rig and leave them in the desert to be killed.
Right. But we already knew that he was
learns
just
that cooperation is important, and he learns to trust another person, and he learns to not hate women. I mean, what doesn't he do?
You're making good points. You are making good points.
I mean, they both do, right? It's just like one of them talks and one of them doesn't. And
well, here's the thing.
Well, he has one line. He's like, she went under the wheel.
They both end back up at the same spot. They both end up back at the Citadel, and and Furiosa is changed just because of the circumstance of everything around her. Max wants to just go back to being Max again. Like I think it stays true to the character of Max Rocknassi that he just wants to just go away, because like we've said over and over again throughout the series, like, stuff happens to Max. Max doesn't make stuff happen. He wanders into situations. He helps people where it's needed, but stuff is just happening at him. And he's just like, I'm trying to live, man. And this is like the ultimate case of this, where he is a pawn that for the first 30 minutes of this movie, he is just getting thrown around. He's getting chained to stuff. He's getting blood ripped out of him. The entire time.
He's a blood bag.
Can we talk about how great the opening is?
Yeah. So to segue into that, I'm pretty confident. Well, let's throw it out there. Is this the best action movie of the 21st century?
Certainly, there's an argument to be made for it.
I think so.
It's really good. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my personal favorite. It's really good, and you can make the argument for it. And I mean, it is actually like it's all capital A action all the time. Not a whole lot of
and it is immediately from the start of this movie. This movie kicks off with a bang. I love the opening monologue. My name is Max. My world is a world of blood and sand, or whatever. Not blood and sand, blood and fire. Blood and Sand is the Spartacus TV show.
Me on the beach.
And his one instinct is survival.
Yeah, and he's got the sweet thing where he smashes the lizard and then he eats it. Cut to as the tail is going down, and then you find out that he's in the middle of a car chase, and the war boys are after him already. He gets blown up and brought into the depths of the Citadel, and like the movie just, like I said, I was saying backstage, 15 minutes into this movie.
Are you tired of the coffee crash? Still jittery an hour after your morning cup of coffee? Listen, I used to drink 5, 6, 7 cups a day to just keep going. The anxiety, the stomach pains, the afternoon crash, it was brutal. Then I discovered Rise Coffee, and everything changed. Rise has less than half the caffeine as regular coffee, but here's the magic. It contains 6 organic mushrooms, including cordyceps, lion's mane, and others that naturally sustain your energy without the jitters or crash. We're talking sharper focus, immune support, better gut health, and calm, sustained energy that lasts all day. Plus, it's organic, vegan, and has 0 added sugars. Unlike other mushroom coffees, Rise is USA grown in California. A full spectrum of mushrooms per serving that actually works. Here at PodNation, we only partner with brands we actually believe in, and Rise Coffee is the real deal. Head to risesuperfoods.com and use promo code PODNA15 for 15% off your order. That's PODNA 15 for 15% off. Ditch the crash. Fuel your day the right way with Rise Coffee.
The Doof Warrior is riding with his guitar that is shooting flames everywhere, and we are going with Furiosa. Like 15 minutes, and this movie is into one of the greatest action scenes of all time. Which I go back and forth on whether the last chase or this first one is better. I kind of favor the first one.
Yeah. I think when I saw this movie, so to put this in perspective, this is May of 2015. I am about to finish my senior year of high school. I am 1 week out. I had just watched Avengers Age of Ultron in what would become the first of
like that,
many,
Peter.
many.
Peter likes that.
Yep. One of many.
Anytime to make these old fucks feel old.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, if I had to guess, I'm probably
I'm drinking coffee right now to stay awake.
Listen, I'm right there with you. I got to take my magnesium L3 just to maintain some mental clarity. But yeah, and this is my first ever time watching a Mad Max movie. I had not watched any of the previous 3 going into this, so I had no clue what to expect going in. I remember the first time like coming out of this, I'm like, I don't really know if I like that or not. I just didn't know what to expect. It was so unlike anything that I'd ever seen before. And after going back and revisiting it a couple times, I think what I appreciate the most about this is just how unabashed it is in terms of we are not really going to hold your hand or explain to you anything. And in hindsight, I appreciate that even more because, again, we were about to enter the decade of legacy franchise continuations of old IP, resurrecting old IP, trying to do continuations, trying to hold the audience's hand, trying to make everything connect. And in hindsight, I really, really appreciate that if you had never seen a Mad Max movie before, this movie is both indebted to the legacy of the franchise, right? Which, again, wasn't really, I would say, a massive, hit. The Road Warrior really does kind of, is kind of more of like a cult hit, I would say. The fact that the first Mad Max was even made is a massive miracle. And Beyond Thunderdome, I believe, was kind of a big flop and also kind of critically reviled. And that's kind of what low-key, like, put the franchise on hold for so long. And so, again, this movie, it's the thing that people have been saying for 11 years now, because I can't believe it's been 11 years since it came out, but it starts and it does not stop. It is just one long, crazy chase that just immerses you in this world, immediately throws you into the action, doesn't give you a chance to blink or breathe. There's a few moments of sparse dialogue in order to try and get it, in order to try and like kind of explain to the audience what the hell's going on. But for the most part, I really, really appreciate just how much of a visual story this is in an era that was becoming increasingly more and more and more dialogue and just, if I'm being honest, slop driven, because again, we're about to enter into, we're only a few years out from Netflix just basically taking over and almost killing the industry for good.
Chris.
So does this movie work as like a silent film? And I think the answer is yes.
100%.
Visually, they tell the story with symbols. They're branding people with this symbol. You see Furiosa has a brand on her neck, so you get it immediately that she's part of this crew somehow by force or not. You don't know, but it it doesn't hold your hand, but it gives you enough that you understand, and it's all done visually.
And this movie and Blade Runner 2049 as well, I think did something very similar as well 2 years later. I think Blade Runner and by extension Dune, we are kind of indebted to this movie for, you know, the fact that they're even able to exist, which is where, again, just like the fact that they don't explain anything allows the detail of the world itself to truly immerse you in it. Like, even though, yes, it takes place on Earth, the fact that it is so displaced from our time period, at least at the time of when this is released, and it feels like you're in an alien world. You know, you're in the middle of the desert. You know, a civilization as you know it is completely collapsed. There's this, you know, people are fighting for oil and resources that have devolved into these like primordial tribal, you know, figures. You know, they've all, you know, part of the allure of the Mad Max franchise is the fact that, you know, this is kind of a brand new world ultimately, and you are kind of just going along for the ride to see like kind of what new crazy shenanigans humanity has gotten up to as it's kind of devolved and civilization is collapsed. And this movie, I think, really tops the previous three with the introduction of Immortan Joe and the War Boys. You know, just how that massive cavernous lair of theirs is constructed. You know, the designs of the vehicles, ultimately, just the way that the sound design is mixed together to make you feel like you're immersed in something primal, even though it takes place in the future. Like, the more I think about it, there really aren't too many movies that are quite like this, really.
You want to know something? I'll tell you a movie that's like this that came out. I was watching this on Prime, and after it was done, what does Prime do? It puts another movie on that it thinks is like this, right? The AI algorithm.
Now I know what he's talking about.
What came on my goddamn screen but Waterworld?
Hell yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Land is a myth!
I understand. I understand the comparison. And in fact, I believe that there are some...
Waterworld is literally the antithesis.
There are some
to
film
Mad Max
conspiracy
Fury
theorists out there that believe that
paper,
Waterworld
piece of
takes place in
paper,
the same
give me that
universe as
paper.
Uh,
Mad Max.
5 minutes, half an hour.
That guy.
So, Chris.
You know who that is, right? That's Kim Coates. That's Tig from Sons of Anarchy.
All right.
That
okay,
makes
never mind. No Sons of Anarchy fans here. All right, never mind.
So, Chris, you have famously said about the Mad Max franchise so far that it is just boring car chases, and yet you like Fury Road. So what is it about Fury Road and the chases in Fury Road that you like but can't buy into in the past ones?
So I'll tell you exactly.
All right, you tell me.
But also the antithesis with Waterworld. I mean, it's great because of like the scarcity of dirt versus water. I mean, come on. It's literally like it's like, this is pure dirt. Oh my god, where'd you get this dirt from?
That dirt would also be full of salt, so that dirt would be useless for growing crops. Like, what the fuck? Anyways,
he's got gills. Bad. Anyways, so okay. I'll tell you what. I still think like this movie is great, awesome. Like, it is nonstop.
Oh boy.
It's a nonstop, amazing stunts. Like, the best shit you're ever going to see as far as car chases, as far as all that stuff. You know what, though? After an hour into the car chases, I was like, okay, we're still doing this. And that's fine. But I'm also being honest. Like, I personally, this is just me. I know, and it's not the popular opinion. I like my car chases to be part of my movie. Like, I'm like, let's give me the Dark Knight, the obvious, you know, white guy, like, it's the best movie ever. But I do it's pretty freaking cool. Amazing car chases, but you know what? They're not the whole movie. Now, this is George Miller's thing. He's like, what if the car chase was the whole movie? And he does that, and that's great. And obviously, is very successful.
Give the fans what they want.
Give the people what they want. What if it was? I love the car chases. What if it was all car chases? And that's good. But I will say, like, even this time, all right. And when this first came out, I did not see any of the earlier Mad Max movies until we watched them here, and even that's questionable, as we've talked about. But I was like, okay, what is this? And obviously, I was a pretentious snob in training. So I was like, well, Oscar buzz, I think I need to see it. And I did. And I was like, okay, you can see, like, obviously, like, really awesome visual, crazy action, and you find out, yeah, they really did so much of this. The CGI was like mainly just to like enhance some of the effects. That's incredible. And I love, this is what I said about Mad Max 1. I love the idea of it. Watching it, yeah, it's okay. That's me. This is better. Although, and Furiosa doesn't, maybe, I feel like it breathes a little bit, maybe, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, when it's like a 2-hour car chase, I do kind of start to be like, oh man, we're still driving. And that's just me. But here's why it's better. Because every other aspect is way better. Budget, much bigger. Actors, much better. Again, like, so there's something to say for like the Gonzo,
way better.
The indie aspect of how they made those first three. It's super cool. Like, and again, like
I think I appreciate it even more coming from directly seeing the older ones to this. Like, literally from the second minute of the movie, you're like, if you just watch Thunderdome and go to this movie, you're like, holy shit! All right, let's go.
And that's really the most notable thing is like the improvement, obviously, you know, in the technology because of the long gap within filmmaking is the most notable and impressive thing, not only for this movie but for this franchise. Because again, in no universe, it's funny, Luke, you and I talk about this all the time. It's like if you took a time machine back to 1985 when Beyond Thunderdome comes out, told the people back then that, like, yeah, in 30 years. They're going to make another, ironic, right? Also came out the same year. Like in 30 years, there's going to be a sequel to this. It's not going to star Mel Gibson, but it's going to get nominated for a bunch of Oscars. They'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? These are like silly little popcorn movies that we make.
Let's think of an example. Let's think of a current example that would be like that. That's a fun exercise. Okay, a trilogy where the last one was pretty bad. Okay, think about this. Noodle on this for a bit. You know, I mean, let's Fast and the Furious. If you're like, Fast and the Furious is
well, if we're gonna go by what Christopher Nolan says, every single franchise that goes past 2 movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has. I mean, he's got.
That was probably because of the poor critical reception of Dark Knight Rises, which is an elite.
Well,
movie.
he supposedly admitted during the filming of that movie that he's like, yeah, they're
he still knocked it out of the park, buddy.
The third movie is never the best one, except for maybe Rocky 3. I think was the only one that he said is like, yeah, that might be.
Yeah, Rocky 3 is pretty good.
Keep in mind the legacy of third movies up until that point. There was a long time where we did not get good third movies. Even though,
name good
third. Die Hard 3, Lethal Weapon.
Well, I mean, now there's a ton. Return of the King, Toy Story 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance,
Return of the Jedi,
I still stand by. I defend Godfather 3, even though I know most people hate that.
You can't accept that.
We defend Pacino in Godfather 3 and Andy Garcia.
Last Crusade, a movie.
Yeah, Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. All right, I'll give that to you.
And listen. I will defend Tokyo Drift. That movie is
I don't like
on,
any Fast and
given
Furious.
how many.
But Luke, hey, this is gonna get on the algorithm. Let's talk Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, the only good Fast and Furious movie because it's not about anything having to do with the Fast and Furious franchise except for there are cars in it.
Yeah.
And the guy that's from the Friday Night Lights, the movie, not the TV show, who plays Mike Winchell, the quarterback, is the main character in Tokyo Drift. Lucas Black. And he might be the worst actor to ever live, but I love watching him try to act, and it's incredible.
You're doing great, buddy. So You're acting the hell out of this scene.
Yeah, you are acting the hell out of acting.
There are some faces that he pulls in Friday Night Lights that are the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life. He is so terrible.
We need to get some clips, some freeze frames.
Billy Bob is like screaming at him, like doing a halfway decent job, and even Billy Bob's like mailing in this performance in this incredible movie.
It ain't got no gas in it, you know.
Tim McGraw is acting his ass off, and here's Mike fucking Winchell like, and just so bad. He's the worst.
Isn't Garrett Hedlund in that movie too?
Fantastic. Yes.
Oh,
plays
man,
Billings.
that could have been the next something, and then I don't know what happened.
Tron.
Well, the problem was Boyd Holbrook took his spot for a little bit, and then
and Tron bombed dramatically.
Tron was
and
so fucking sweet looking and sounding.
But I'll tell you what. Listen, I know that Taylor Sheridan is hit or miss, But man, I love me some Tulsa King. I love me some Tulsa King. And Garrett Hedlund is awesome on that. It's so bad. I
feel
love
like,
every
is it
single minute.
something to
so
say that
bad.
all Taylor
So bad.
Sheridan shows are virtue signaling?
Yes.
It's like, hey, you know,
I think
this
he's
time
cranking out so much stuff. I think he's using
what's he
AI
virtue
to type.
signaling with the new what's her name?
Madison?
No, yeah, the Madison with your girl Catwoman.
Michelle
Yeah,
Pfeiffer.
Michelle
Michelle
Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer.
I haven't
Fife
seen it, so I can't
Dog.
tell you.
Yeah, I mean,
I do know that's the first. That's
Kurt
the first that
Russell.
Matthew Fox
It's
has been in
Kurt
since
Russell.
Lost.
they
Michelle
get all
Pfeiffer.
kinds. They get all kinds of famous people.
They get all the
Will
Harrison
Arnett is
Ford
in that show.
Sheridan has.
It's fine because it's like for 50% of the population, or like, you know, whatever around that, they're like, this is for you, wink. And I'm sure I'll also say this: ask me how many of those shows I've watched. 0. Because I am like, that's not for me.
I like the prison show with
Mayor of Kingstown is good
Kingstown's
because
good.
there's not as much virtue signaling in that one. That was just a straight
I'm
action.
sure,
that
like,
is a brutal show.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sure that there's merits to it. I'm just, you know, I'm talking shit because that's
All right.
I did like the first season.
I think this is the most we've ever not talked about the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
Well, there's not a lot of
That
dialogue.
is, in my
There's not a-
opinion, possibly one of the best action movies I've ever
Peter,
seen.
are you a
Jesus
first
Christ.
Thank God somebody
first
pointed
chase
it out.
sequence or second or the end chase sequence?
I think that possibly the sandstorm should have been part of the conclusion and not where it was in the film because it was so epic and
It's so
the
good.
visuals of it and the music that was used. Like me and my 12-year-old were watching it and he was just like, "Oh my God, this is insane." I was like, "Yeah, this should have been the
beautiful.
conclusion."
It's great. I mean, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very cool. I mean, yes, it is a long car chase for me, but I mean, it's really amazingly done.
You're forgetting that hand-to-hand choreographed fight that was very good.
Yeah.
That's not a car chase. I love that. I thought that was gritty.
Well, no.
That was like Last
might be my
Crusade on
favorite.
top of the tank stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
And
you
Peter,
talking
also, to
about
your
when-
point as well about the sandstorm.
When he's chained up to Nux and Charlize
and they have
Theron,
to fight
she
and they're
doesn't have her
dragging him
arm
around.
on. Yeah,
So
and
good.
the girls are fighting with.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite part.
That's awesome.
But
that
Peter,
part.
real quick, to your point about the sandstorm, that's again part of the whole what's it called upending of the films of the narrative structure of this movie. Because you're right, in any traditional narrative, that sandstorm is part of the final act conclusion. But the fact that they put that in the beginning, and that might be like their biggest set piece to date, and they just chuck it into the beginning, and then the rest, it's like, okay, they're driving along, they got a mini skirmish when Max realizes what the cargo was, why Furiosa deviated, and then they keep going, and then Nux joins them, and then they end up going through the desert, or they go to the Greenland, they discover it's dried up, they decide to head back towards the Citadel. It's one big loop-de-loop, and yeah, okay, you can say the thing of, it's just one big long chase, and they turn around, and they go back, and they fight, and all that, and you can make that argument, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how much criticism you could lobby at this movie narrative-wise that you can't lobby already at the first.
I think this movie
100%.
just sticks to what it wants to do, but it throws in these unexpected things like saddling your main character to be just a piece of human meat, and he's not doing anything at the beginning. That's unexpected.
Literally using the same locations twice, like they go through that canyon.
Yeah,
both times, and
it's unexpected.
Differently and effectively every single time. They bookend the sandstorm, and then you have the mud pit and all the pressure of getting out of that situation where they're winching it to the tree and all that sort of stuff. So they're always adding new stuff every single part of the chase. So you're never like bored. You're never like, these guys just keep driving side by side the entire way. And even at the last time they get the guys up on the poles, and you're like, you see those and you're like, holy shit. Okay. I didn't even know that was a
great
thing.
pole action in this movie too. And again, like
I haven't seen that much pole action since Anora.
Oh man,
this is 9 years before Nora, so that's that. But ironically, Nora came out the same year as Furiosa, the prequel. But yeah, I mean, the way in which action is utilized in this movie, I've never seen it before in any. I've never seen action utilized like that in any movie before, and I have not utilized it in any utilization since. Where again, these sequences have got to be so tightly choreographed because if even one thing goes wrong, they got to start over from scratch. And again, the fact that it's mostly practical, the fact that you've got like multiple trucks, bikes flying everywhere, these car rig contraptions speeding by, like everything has to go exactly right. And the fact that it all feels so tight, so clean, so pristine, but also at the same time messy, dirty, rough. It's all of the above. It's everything that
you know what really got
action.
me this time? Because I've seen this movie so many times, I was just looking for stuff that I didn't really notice before. The scene where Tom Hardy has like fallen out of the truck at the end and then gets tossed onto the other the other truck, and they're like taking in gas and spitting it into the motor directly. That is so badass.
It's awesome.
And they're just
awesome.
They're looking up at each other and just like screaming back and forth and just taking hits of gas and just spitting it.
And to your point as well, the way that he's kind of getting knocked around, running around, constantly have to fight his way. It's straight. It's Buster Keaton. It's old school filmmaking. It's the guy that's constantly trying to like just get off, but every single obstacle is going up in his way. The design of the war, but that's the other thing too also that I want to talk about, the design of these characters. Like, have we ever seen characters quite designed like this, where it almost goes so far between, like, it's a mix between like, okay, this is what would happen if you were stranded and forced to like kind of survive in the desert for God only knows how long that they've been there, but also like a mix of like a rock opera concert. Like, you've got all these characters with like all of these deformities and all of these piercings, and Immortan Joe has this insane like gas pumping mixture that goes into it. His face looks like set against the backdrop of his hair looks almost skeletal. Like it's wild, honestly, how they choose to design the characters.
Immortan Joe was hit head on by a semi in the first Mad Max movie.
That's true. If we're going based off that theory, that is the same
Immortan Joe
character.
is Toe Cutter because he is played by the same actor.
Movie.
They're not saying that it's the same character.
They're not.
Okay.
They're not.
It's supposed to be the same guy. I think.
Well, it's the same actor.
I don't know if
there was a long theory
that
at the same time. Yeah.
I was thinking gas.
Peter, I mean, you've been Mr. Costume Corner this entire series run.
I'm gonna run out of that. I don't think I have any more costumes in me, but I do my best.
Is this the best costumes in any of the Mad Max movies so far? Or do you have a personal favorite from the older ones?
I mean, I really think that this owes everything to Road Warrior. And I really, really loved Road Warrior. I like this movie better, but I think that this movie.
Listen, here's the truth. If it's not something you love to do, automation is mandatory. You didn't start your podcast to spend hours editing clips. You started it to create, connect, and grow your audience. But here's the problem. Every other platform works with video podcasts, and manual editing eats up your most valuable asset, your time. That's where Opus Clip changes everything. Upload your video, and Opus Clip will automatically find the gold nugget moments, auto-clip the captions for the best parts, perfect for TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. 1 hour-long episode becomes 10, 20, even 30 viral-ready clips in minutes. The tool even predicts each clip's viral potential, so you know exactly what to post. No more tenuous editing, no more wasted hours, just you staying in the place that you love to be, creating content that matters. Head to podnationopus.com for your free trial and get back to doing what you do best. Stop editing and start creating now.
The movie is like the fully formed Dr. John Osterman, the Dr. Manhattan of Watchmen, where the other movies, they are the DNA and the bones and the nervous system and the muscles. And then this movie is finally the fully formed naked blue penis of Dr. Manhattan. That you've got to see all those other parts. So, I mean, yes, this movie does have better like striking visuals of costumes and characters and makeup, but it's like that the Mad Max is Road Warrior. Who's
your favorite costume guy?
Favorite costume?
Are you an Erectus guy?
Rictus.
Erectus.
I mean, I do love some hot man meat.
Say that 10 times fast, please. I mean,
I do. Okay, here's what I remember. He's Nathan Jones. He played the first guy that Achilles fights in Troy.
Yes. Yep.
And I remember
when he does that sweet
theater.
jump move.
Yep. I saw that in theater, and I saw Nathan Jones. I was like, is this a real person? How can a person be this tall but also like be the same proportions as like a normal strong guy?
Yeah,
kind of
very rare.
Broke my brain, but yeah, I mean, Immortan Joe, I think, is probably the best looking in terms of makeup and costume and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, but all of like Immortan Joe's posse, like the weird like shrunken guy in the chair, and then the heavyset dude with the nipple piercings, and then the Angus Sampson character as well. And again, just like really props to the design. Like every single technical Oscar that this movie won, kudos,
Absolutely.
It deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, there's badass stuff like Furiosa. She's got the grease on her forehead. The grease comes off at some point. She's cleaning off, and then when it's time to get back to action, she's just wiping it back on her face to get that look again. So cool.
Yeah, so cool.
The design for the characters, and obviously it starts with like the first movie, and it develops through through every single one. Even like Thunderdome, amazing. Like just all of it, like. The design and the weird, very specific, out of this like bonkers, fucking weird kind of S&M, right? We talked about that. Overtones of that is very unique, and they take it to the next level here. Or no, I think it's always crazy. They just adapt it to like this setting, and it's actually maybe a little less gimpy than it is in some of the earlier ones, you know?
Yeah, and it's amazing all the stars that kind of came out of this. Like Tom Hardy only gets bigger after this movie. Nicholas Hoult is on a run now himself. We've got Zoe Kravitz and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, I think, is still modeling and stuff like that. I think she only ended up being in 2 movies.
Elvis's granddaughter.
Riley Keough
Riley
in
Keough,
everything.
and then the other two also have been in a couple things. I know one of the girls is Abby Lee, who I believe played one of the 2 white supremacist villains in Lovecraft Country. For anybody who remembers that short-lived HBO show, and she's been in a couple things. And the 5th girl is
Courtney Eaton,
who I want to say
He sure is.
Yeah, okay. I know who that is too. She is young Lottie on Yellow Jackets. For anybody who's seen Yellow Jackets. Yep, that's who that is. Yep. I'm like, I knew her from something. Yeah, then you got, John Howard as the People Eater, Richard Carter as the Bullet Farmer. The Doof Warrior in real life is simply known as Iota. His real name is Sean Haight, but he's known professionally as Iota. He's a New Zealand Australian singer-songwriter. Angus Sampson is the Organic Mechanic. That's another one. Say that 10 times fast.
Organic Mechanic.
And this is one of my favorite. Quentin Kennahan as Corpus Colossus, Joe's son. That's the one that basically prevents him from being able to walk too. And like also just like
he's the guy with the spyglass. Corpus Colossus.
Yeah, really just immersing you in the world and really making you feel like you're not like in the real world anymore. Like the way their dialogue, their inflections, their tonality, their way of speaking, everything just feels so alien.
Rictus Erectus has my favorite line in the entire movie, which is after they cut the baby out and they find that it's dead. The doctor says, he's a baby. You had a baby brother. He was like better than he was perfect in every way. Perfect in every way. And then Rictus just screams that exact same 2 sentences.
It's the best line of the movie.
Did you catch when he drinks the mother's milk? He just goes, moo.
Yeah, great.
He's the kind of guy whose farts smell like his mom's favorite hand lotion, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a baby brother, and he was perfect.
And he was perfect in every way. It's great. It's great.
So good. Immortan Joe, what was that guy's name again? It was
Hugh Keays-Byrne is the actor's name.
Just the coolest design for a villain that you could ever put into a post-apocalyptical world. When he releases the river, just like the Ents in Lord of the Rings, release the river, and lets that. I mean, just super cool character design, and he kills it. He's so good the entire movie, and it really holds on him.
giving us a line that I still use to this day, because obviously we are all familiar with this word, but I don't think that I don't think that word had quite been ingrained in my brain in terms of the way in which that I would use, because every time now I see something that I just think is, not bad, I'm always just like, mediocre. Like there's no way, there's absolutely no way that you were ever going to forget that going in when Nux tries and fails miserably to get onto the thing. And also, again, just the fact that it is clear that they have been stuck in this post-apocalyptic hell for so long, to the point that now like death is more honorable than life, and they have the whole like mixing and meshing of different religions and tones of the past. They have the shit where they sprayed the silver lip gloss over each other.
Is Nicholas Hoult the heart and soul of this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
Nux is an incredible character.
Nux
so
my
committed.
favorite character.
He is like he's so committed. The others are like they're cool. He's not cool. He's just like, I don't do anything. Fuck. Like,
but then if you think about it, he's the one that gets to be the hero at the end, not Max, not Furiosa. He's the one that does the sacrifice play. He's the one that crashes the truck and lets himself die so that he can kill all the rest. Like, he kind of is the hero. Nux is the hero of the movie to me.
We witness him.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Very, very cool death. He gets the final shot looking in at him as he then topples the truck and knocks down the canyon so that they can't be pursued anymore. The Immortan Joe face ripping is awesome. Super cool. George, show it. Just show it, buddy. It happens a little bit too off screen for me, but I
want to see that face rip.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's more
Immortan
just
Joe
the fact
death
that it's
was a bit
edited too fast,
too quick.
It happened so fast.
Yeah.
But that is very Mad Max franchise. The villains just get taken out and they don't really have long drawn out deaths.
No.
Hey, there was a point in this movie where and maybe it was one of Max's little tweak out like flashbacks, but I think they showed a shot from the original Mad Max with the bug eyes. I swear to God, I saw it. Anyone else see that?
Yeah.
Like the exact shot.
But I don't know.
I'd have to go back and check.
You're hallucinating, Peter.
What? So speaking of calling guys mediocre, the guy who dives off the truck with the double explosive lances, didn't they call him mediocre? I was pissed. That was not mediocre. That was
no, not him. They didn't call him mediocre. I'm
Nux.
pretty sure they all. No, it was only Nux that they said that to. That sequence where that dude jumps off and is like one of the, again, that was over all the trailers. Like that's like one of these shots in the movie. That and the wide of the sight.
No, the mediocre line comes after Nux jumps to the truck and is like, I'm going to get her back. And then immediately gets caught and smashes his face into the ground.
Right.
He's like, okay. And that was after Morton gives him the big fire up speech, like, I will carry you into the gates of Valhalla myself. And Nux is like jacked. He's like, yes, this is all I wanted.
He's dying anyways with his two little tumor friends.
Barry and Larry.
Exactly.
Best supporting tumor actors.
Yeah, they don't get enough love.
What the fuck? That's so incredible. The layers in this movie are amazing.
Yeah. Quite literally layers of tumor characters.
Sure. Well, and you have the entire idea that gets explored more in Furiosa, but they're just like, oh yeah, that Bullet Town area, gasoline farm or whatever. Like super crazy that they just are like building this world all around it and then not talking about it at all. Like
so
Mad Max is the ultimate like, hey, there's this really weird thing happening over here. We're never gonna talk about it.
Yes.
If you think about it, this whole franchise is the best video game map ever put to film, like ever. Where they're just like the characters literally just going from location to location and just completing different side quests, and like there's always like new places to explore and new like RPGs that are being added and stuff. My question for you guys is Furiosa, right? And that movie, because more than any of these other movies, like these two movies are actively speaking each other, because not only is Furiosa a direct prequel to this, but Furiosa literally ends right where this movie begins. Like it ends with Furiosa played by Charlize, she's played by Anya Taylor-Joy for the majority of the movie, helping Immortan Joe's wives escape into the trawler. So what are you guys' thoughts on that movie and its relation to this movie?
Well, we'll talk in detail about that next week, but I mean I liked it. I think this has such a huge legacy that it's pretty hard to top it, and so I think by design it was going to be a letdown because it's such a very specific thing, right? Like So it's, you know, because this is so unique and like, yes, it's this long, artistic, insane chase. Can you do 2 of those? And like the answer, I mean, it's like, well, not really. Or I mean, you can, and it'll still be good. But and I will say, my oldest son, he's 22, so yeah, he's
wow.
I know. He's like he's probably close to you, Dom. You guys were classmates.
That much younger than me. That's crazy.
Yep, that's right. He prefers Furiosa. And, you know, because like, you know, if you come up at a certain time, like he saw Furiosa first, I believe, right? So, you know, and that's
right.
But, you know, I think for most people, they're looking through it of the lens of like, oh, this is this sequel to Fury Road. Yeah, I mean, that one was such a classic, but I really liked Furiosa a lot. I mean, I'm excited to talk about it.
I dig Furiosa.
I guess just kind of the reason why I bring that up is because this is obviously when Mad Max Fury Road came out, Furiosa didn't exist, so we couldn't have this conversation. But I feel like it's really interesting knowing what we know about Furiosa and how that builds into Fury Road, like directly into Fury Road as well. That makes it kind of.
I want to say this is the first time I've seen Fury Road since having watched Furiosa. When Fury Road came out in 2015, I watched that movie over and over for like the next 3 years, and then really didn't watch it that much until Furiosa. I think this is the first time, and it definitely painted the entire character of Imperio Furiosa like completely different to me. Like
that's kind of why I really dug Furiosa in a way I was not expecting to at all.
I was like, she just felt like an old friend already. Like at the start of this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Charlize doing her thing. You know, she's always, you know, taking women to the green place.
Yeah.
That's what she
does a really good job of embodying that character without it feeling like a Charlize ripoff performance. Hemsworth is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
that I think is the best performance he's given in anything outside the MCU. And also like certain sequence, like that whole Bullet Town sequence in general, one of the most insane things I've ever seen.
I think they did the pole guys better in Furiosa.
Yeah, I agree.
They worked the pole better.
And they had the balloon guys too. Like, I mean, that movie has some pretty sick stunts in it.
Yep. Also, low-key underrated usage of Tom Burke as well. Phenomenal in that.
Interesting. I mean, we'll talk. Yeah. But Peter, have you seen it?
I saw it a couple of years ago, and living in a house with 3 young kids, I think I was quite distracted. So I remember almost nothing about it. Yeah, pretty much. I remember almost nothing about it, but like, it's just because it's not because the movie wasn't good. It's because I just was watching it in parts and getting distracted and doing dishes and
sounds like
throwing up and doing dishes. Well, and, you know, anyway.
Well, we basically covered the big highlights of the stuff that's happened in this movie. So let's get into some of the awards stuff, and we can talk more about the movie while we give our awards.
Real quick though, Peter, I was doing dishes while I watched Fury Road.
Yeah, see, that kind of shit just happens.
I mean, you're like, I gotta do it. I don't know.
I get pulled away if I'm not. No one's gonna do this. I gotta do this right now.
Oh fuck, guys! Real quick. We got another RIP today. I just looked on Instagram. Xander from Buffy.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, before we got on.
Yeah. 54.
And Chuck Norris. Shout out Chuck
Norris. See, I think if Chuck Norris died, I think that really means that we're actually all dead and Chuck Norris is alive. I think
that would make the most
It's like
sense.
The end of Begonia or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah.
Now you got me interested.
I buy that.
That's true.
I buy that. But considering that the Matrix has been broken since
so annoyed when that was so popular, when people in their Chuck Norris like jokes, and then it was like hoodies, and we're like, okay, it was cute for like
it was the first meme.
I remember those because I was in high school.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fat. It was great. I was just like, okay, let's everybody relax.
Those were the days. Those were great. When they put a fucking Chuck Norris joke and had him say a Chuck Norris joke in Expendables 2. That's how you know that they knew.
Didn't Conan start kind of like low-key start that with when
he had the lever?
Probably.
The Walker Texas lever.
Yes. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm always up for Conan for sure.
And then by the time it got to all the normies, then it was stupid. So
anyway. Walker said that I have AIDS.
So, Chris, what's your favorite scene from Mad Max Fury Road?
On that, we'll go off that. All right. Well, I'm gonna say just the car chase.
You gotta pick a part.
Yeah, I know.
Give me at least a 5-minute stretch.
No, I mean, my favorite chase is probably when they Immortan Joe is going after his milkmaids and one of them dies and that whole thing. That was pretty badass. But I will say to kind of be a slightly contrarian, maybe I'll say the fist fight in front where Max is chained to Nux and all the milkmaids kick his ass and toss him around. Yeah,
that was very good.
That was very good.
Peter, your favorite scene?
Zoe Kravitz.
This was kind of a toss-up for me because I like swinging around in trees and stuff. So the pole vaulters were pretty cool to me, but I think the sandstorm is going to have to take it. Just that when they first see the sandstorm and just the distant shots of the whole caravan going into it, and then what it looks like inside the sandstorm. And it's also like an electric storm, magnetic storm. And it just, the fire was all distorted and just
the fire rises.
Like a badass dust bowl.
Yeah. I think sandstorm is my favorite.
That's it. No, that's a great call. Love it.
That's how Interstellar opens up with the documentary on the Dust Bowl. Dom, your favorite scene from
Oh man, this is tricky. Obviously, I love the final fight sequence, but I'm actually going to go for a tricky one, an underrated one that I feel like doesn't get talked about, but might be one of the most tense and thrilling sequences. The scene that takes place at night, right around the middle, where they're going in the bog and they get stuck in the bog, and they see those figures that are like kind of like just
crows.
And they're walking through. Yeah, the crows, but they're crawling through.
Those look like video game characters. Very good.
Literally, exactly. Yeah. I feel like I'm in Fallout when I'm watching that sequence. That's a really, really underrated sequence. So I'm a big fan of that one.
I'm gonna because I would share the same as Peter. I love, especially this time through, I love the sandstorm scene. It makes me remember one of my favorite fond movies of my childhood, Hidalgo. Have you ever seen the movie Hidalgo?
I'm aware that it's a movie.
Viggo
Mortensen.
Yeah,
I'm aware of that movie. I have not.
It's about this like famous horse race, marathon horse race in the Middle East. It's really, really good, and there's a sandstorm scene in that, and I believe it is closer to the middle of the movie and not at the end of the movie. So pull the George Miller there.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with when Charlize finds out that the green place doesn't exist anymore, into her falling to her knees. That shot, I know it's in the trailer, I know it's used basically everywhere, but that shot is just killer. That
was a much needed change of pace. That scene.
And she absolutely kills that scene too, because her realizing when they're like, yeah, you went through that bog back there, like you drove through it already. And the realization, like, oh, like after being so relieved to see her old friends and family again, especially having seen Furiosa, how long it's been and everything that she's been through. And so I think this time around, her falling to her knees, I could feel the full weight of that, because you're feeling 2 movies worth of weight where she's just like, God damn it. All of this shit to like have it not, exist anymore. Fantastic scene. Really, really cool shot. That is not an action scene. It's just basically still of a person feeling emotion.
So did we all we just picked 4 different scenes, and this is the case for why this movie is so good.
Yeah. And it's all over the place too. We got a slower scene. We've got pure action. And we're skipping the other 75% of the movie, which is also killer. I could have taken the chase scene with Hardy as he's, sliding over the top of the car. The war boys are like flying at him the entire way. Like, it's just really cool. Compact.
Also, again, the fact, I know we mentioned the Doof Warriors,
very Indiana Jones like,
but the fact that, like, again, you got a dude that's literally there just playing a guitar that shoots fire.
And then actually
they have that
practical. That guitar actually shot fire and was capable of being
And
played.
the fact that that dude Iona or whatever his name is, pretty sure like composed those tunes like originally for, like it's insane, honestly.
And that guy was getting bounced around. Max was on top of him. He was getting hit, and he just kept on wailing every single time.
He's blind, and all he wants to do is shred.
Yeah. How much Dramamine would he have had to been on? Because I would have been puking relentlessly if I was in a setup like that.
Speaking of that fantastic performance by the Duke Warrior, Dom, who's your performance of the Fury Road?
It's funny because going into this, I was going to say Charlize Theron or Hugh Keys-Byrne, obviously, for that iconic voice. But I got to say, you guys kind of like made me recontextualize. I'm going Nicholas Hoult as Nux. Like, really, again, the fact that of all of the crazy, insane, big, over-the-top personalities, he is the heart of the movie ultimately. And like I said, even more so than the X-Men prequels, this is the movie that kind of sets him up for the rest of his career, which again is rather a fascinating and underrated career. You know, he's constantly chasing these big-name parts and constantly getting overlooked or cast as secondary characters and villains, but he constantly kills it. Also, if you guys have not seen a movie called The Order with him and Jude Law that came out a few years ago, I highly, highly recommend it. It's basically Heat, where he is a white supremacist wannabe leader, and Jude Law is pursuing him. It is one of the most insane movies, and it might be his best performance. Came out only a few months before. Actually, no, came out the same month that Nosferatu did. Highly recommend that one.
I love him in The Favorite, which I rewatched not that long ago. Big Yorgos guy here. He's hilarious. He's very funny. He's very funny.
Also on The Great, written by the favorite writers, Tony McNamara. Great stuff there.
He is such an insufferable prick in The Menu. That movie's not fantastic, but he is so good in that role.
I will never forget the line.
Who's your performance of the film? Go ahead, Don.
I was going to say, just because it's like, where did you go to school, Brown? Student loans? No, you're dying. It's great. I'm sorry for that line alone. Like, The Menu is an all-timer.
My performance, I'll go to Charlize. It's just, that's there's a lot of, I mean, I don't know, I feel like you're gonna probably take one of the big three if you count Nicholas Hoult as one of them. I mean, there's some great side characters as well, obviously, but I'll just go that one. I mean, she's great. So in the scene that you just talked about, obviously kind of the pinnacle of, she does the most like acting.
Yeah, she does act the most. Peter, your performance of the film.
I'll also go with Charlize, but it's I mean, obviously the scene where she's on her knees near the end, but I was really impressed at the beginning of the movie, and I think it's before you have figured out that she has stolen the brides, and she has veered off course, and you can see it in her eyes that she is like stressed out and nervous and sad and angry, and it's only done with her eyes, and half of her head is covered in that black grease, and she's still keying you in that there's a lot at stake here. And that was it for me. Very beginning, I thought that she was nailing it.
Yeah, she is fantastic. I'm gonna give it to Hugh Keys-Byrne. George Miller's Guy brought him back. Immortan Joe. Movie doesn't quite hit as well if you don't have a great bad guy. He's a great bad guy, going to be an iconic bad guy for a very long time.
Those eyes really pop when you got this.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Peter, your MVP of Mad Max Fury Road.
I'm gonna go with the editor because this action was so crazy that
Margaret Sixel.
I didn't look it up.
Was the wife of George Miller.
Well, I thought you were going to say George Lucas. No.
No, not my one.
She's a great editor. She won an Oscar in New Hope where George Lucas did not, the editor for that one. But I think
he secretly made all of his movies good. She's just
But yeah, that's who I'm going with. I think you need an absolute master
behind every great man.
I also was going to pick her, Margaret Sixel, George Miller's wife. So she had 480 hours of footage.
That's
from Miller. And this is
crazy.
So the other infamous thing about this is George Miller didn't really write a script for this, but he storyboarded everything. So he visually knew what he wanted, and then they kind of just worked the dialogue in where it was required. And even with all that pre-planning, even with 17 years of pre-production on this, he still shot 480 hours that she turns into a 2-hour just banger.
It's impressive.
And her first movie that she ever worked on, I think it took her like 3 months just to watch the initial footage.
Yeah.
And her first movie she ever works on, and she wins an Oscar her first time out.
There you go. Rightfully so.
Goat.
Rightfully so.
Goated.
Chris, your MVP of Fury Road.
I'm gonna go with the director of Babe, Pig in the City, George Miller, because the balls of this guy. Am I right? He just puts it like what?
No, he's got good bullocks, Mike.
Yeah. Just the fact that obviously he had these 3 movies before. And he had success between now and then, so he had money to, and obviously was working on this for a long time. But it's a big swing, right? Like it's definitely a very singular vision and something that the guy was like working on for years. And like we talked about too, how everything. I mean, he did all this backstory and wrote about all this stuff that never made it into it. And some of it probably makes it into Furiosa, obviously. But I would guarantee that there's a bunch of other shit that no one will ever find out about unless you dig into, archives or something. There's just so much clear passion. Like this was not a money grab. It and Dom, you were talking about these Lego sequels that we're going to start up and we still get those. And we had a great conversation on this show a couple months back about the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
But anyways, check that out if you want to.
I told them about it.
A very awkward exchange. But the point is like this is not that. This is someone that is just really passionate about this project and worked on it for literally decades and saw it come to life and it worked. So George Miller, who I didn't know. So he and Robert Rodriguez did Sin City.
Oh, really? They worked on it?
No,
because
I thought that was Frank Miller.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I'm like, that's Frank Miller.
Never Miller. I got my Miller's Crossing. You know what I'm saying?
It was Dennis
Miller Lite.
Dennis. Dom, your MVP of the film.
Well, they took what I was going to take, George Miller. So I'm going to go with Iona as the Doof Warrior because again, what other movie are you going to get a freaking dude that is strapped to a freaking car rig just playing guitar ultimately? So yeah, the Doof Warrior has to be my my MVP.
Like why? Who thinks of this character? This is insane. Yeah. He's backed up by dudes on bass drums that's on the same vehicle. I get the chills watching parts of this movie, and I think that's one of them is when the fire is shooting out of that guitar. It's
the best. He's one of the best character creations, non-Guillermo del Toro of all time. Like just completely out of the ether. Like, why would you make this guy? And there's George Miller just doing it. Peter, how about your rating out of 10 for Fury Road?
Ooh, it's pretty high. I gotta give a shout out to my wife's cousin. She loves this movie. My wife hates this movie. I don't know why. She walked by and saw the women being milked like cows, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Not a good scene to have on.
But like that's character design right there. Like the costumes of that, like that's weird as shit.
I loved it.
But
I love it.
So shout out to my wife.
I'm so into that.
She loves it. I love this movie. I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10.
Woo. Woo.
Big league.
Big score. Big score.
Yeah.
Dom, your score out of 10.
I'm not gonna go so high as a 9.5 because as much as this movie is touted as a masterpiece, for me personally, it's not necessarily a masterpiece. That being said, it is one of again the most unique and different and crazy kinds of movies and experiences that I've ever had in the theater. So I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
All right,
beautiful,
Chris.
At the end of the day, they just drove and drove. I'll give it an 8.8. I like it a lot. It's great. It's like so good at what it does. It's awesome. And maybe, but I just 9 is reserved for things like the Tim Burton '89 Batman, and I can't give that up. So 8.8, high praise. Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, I think this is one of the 5 best movies we've ever covered on the show. I don't think that's saying too much, up there with Dark Knight, with the first Alien movie, with Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. Which one of those favorites you want to put in our top 5? I think this movie is a 9.3, 9.4, right around there. I'll go 9.3. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's one of the best movies we've ever covered. I've seen the first 30 minutes of this movie probably 12 times, and it rips every single time.
Yeah.
Hey, I forgot there's a cool part in this movie where they Furiosa and Max, they dap it up with the hands like this, and it's a little bit of foreshadowing of what might be coming in the franchise. If you know what I'm saying.
That's a tease.
Hey, what's the matter, Furiosa? The Immortan Joe got you pushing too many pencils, you know.
It's a good Arnold.
With that mild spoiler, which I will neither confirm nor deny that is a spoiler or not.
Cut that.
That is, we will cover Predator eventually on the show.
I better be on for that one.
I don't know. But I do want to shout out, Chris and I made some wheelings and dealings, and we are now a part of, you'll have seen at the top of this episode, when I repost it, that we are part of PodNation. So shout out to all of those guys. Scoob, our head guy, for running that up. Shout out to him. We will definitely have him on the show, which would be very fun, because I'm just going to treat him like he's our boss the entire time and ask permission.
What do you say? What do you think was the best scene? That's the best scene.
That's great.
I've never had a boss in my podcasting life before, and now I do, to a certain extent. Although we get to do basically whatever we want. So shout out to those guys. Check out all the other shows. They got a couple other movie podcast shows as a part of the network that I'm sure we will be having on as guests and stuff like that. So shout out to PodNation. Make sure that you're going, liking, subscribing every single one of their shows. We've got the Linktree on our YouTube page, on our Twitter, everywhere. So go check out all those. Make sure that you're liking and subscribing here. And Dom, let's give a shout out to all of your channels.
Yes, sir. At Talkin TV podcast across all platforms, at official movie nerd reviews across all platforms. Like I said, Luke and I have been watching, rewatching, recapping, reviewing, breaking down, analyzing all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies up until low key, we predicted one battle after another, winning Best Picture. I don't think that was too far out of the realm of possibility, but we just posted Phantom Thread, rather unique entry in Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography. So give that look, see if and when you can. We are recording The Master tomorrow. That will be up in a week, so definitely be sure to check all the stuff we have going on there. Luke and I review Lost on our Talkin' Lost recap.
Different Luke, Chris.
Different Luke. It's very confusing. I don't know what it is with all these people that I know just all having the same name. It's really weird. But
Luke.
And also the amount of Chris's that I know in my life. It's really crazy. But you guys can follow me with everything going on there. YouTube, Spotify, all the places.
Oh, and we're covering Project Hail Mary tomorrow.
Yes, we are. So be sure to be sure to check that out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, what do you got to plug?
I have a podcast called Aliens, Bigfoot, and Me, and My Journey to the Lactose-Free Diet. So just check it out. It's on
everywhere.
Everywhere.
That you should be seen by the light of day.
How well do you think a tree-related podcast would go?
There are some ones out there that I've listened to that are pretty boring sometimes, and that's my
zany tree podcast.
That's my profession, so I don't know what does that say, but sometimes there's some good stuff out there.
I don't think I would want to listen to a podcast about what I do professionally either.
Yeah, I mean sometimes there's some good stuff, but mostly no.
Well, check out Dom everywhere, Talkin TV, check out Franchise Addicts everywhere. We are on TikTok, we are on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. We are on X, we are on YouTube. We are on Instagram everywhere. And once again, check out PodNation, all the shows there. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Dom.
Thanks, guys.
All right, mates. Have a good one.
Witness me.
Goodbye.
This podcast is a proud member of PodNation Media Network.